Why it's called the 6-pound field gun.
Cannonball, 6-pound shot.
Exactly right. It fires a 6-pound ball. Now the soldiers in the field of battle would be using a 20-ounce black powder charge to fire that 6-pound round. And with that full battlefield charge of 20 ounces, they could sling that ball up to a mile. The maximum range on this weapon is a mile. Some perspective on how far away a mile is Round Island, which is about to disappear in the fog. But it's that island right out there, and a mile is just past the tree line. This is a smooth-bore weapon, so it would be extremely inaccurate if we did fire a cannonball out of here. Best I can tell you is we would hit a tree. And Round Island is national forest, so that gives you an idea of how accurate they would be at a mile. It's much more accurate at a half mile. This is where the break wall is, where all those ferries are turning. But regretfully, we will not be up here and able to take pot shots at those ferries for you this morning. Wouldn't be a very good way to start off anybody else this morning either. But accuracy is still a very relative term in the 1880s. A crew would be considered a good gun crew. They could hit a 100-foot-long stationary target 50% of the time. So we can make our target be 100 feet long and not move. Hopefully we can hit it 5 out of 10 times we try. So, pretty iffy still, but 50% was considered good in the 1880s. But regretfully, we will not be firing a cannonball for you guys today. State Park, Jennifer Granholm, and the other congressmen and senators have decided we're not allowed to fire live ammunition in their state parks. Very disappointing, I know. Write them letters, please. We would love to fire cannonballs out here at ferries. It's a big fun week, let me tell you. Another reason we're not allowed to do that is because the state only gave us one cannonball. And this one cannonball they did give us, try as we might, does not fit down the barrel. They don't trust William and I. And the third reason, and probably the most important, is because it would be historically inaccurate. The soldiers we represent are men from the 1880s. And in the 1880s, part of the island was Mackinac Island National Park. So the soldiers were firing salute charges for their cannon up here. So when the flags would go up in the morning or when they would come down at night, the cannon would be fired, as well as dignitaries coming to the island, and even when visitors like yourselves would come to the island. That's what they would use the cannon up here for. So you guys are here today, we're going to fire off a cannon salute for you guys. With that, we're going to start right into the cleaning process. Now there would be 8 men on this cannon in the field of battle, but there's only William and I up here, so I am going to need a volunteer. Anybody want to help us out on the cannon? How about you in the back, sir? What's your name, sir?
Chuck.
Chuck? Where are you from, Chuck? Riverside, California. All right. Quite the road trip. Are you right or left-handed? You're right-handed? Well, I have a left-handed glove just in case there's any paperwork after. Something might go wrong. We're going to need your signature, so we're going to give you a left-handed glove. If you could, would you step over here to the back of the cannon and place your glove thumb over that touch hole right there for me? Thank you. Now, what Chuck is doing is called thumb stalling. It's a very important job up here on our cannon. He's cutting off any air to the back of our weapon. That way we can create a vacuum that will help extinguish any embers or sparks that might be left in the barrel from previous firings, making the cleaning process for William much safer at the front of the gun. Now William is going to start that cleaning process with a gunner's worm or auger. That's the first tool he's using. He's going to run that down. It's a double corkscrew. He's going to spin it around a couple times and hopefully pull out any solid debris that could be left over from previous firings. There's some solid debris right there. Now the next tool he's going to use is called the wet swab. It's an extremely important tool. He's going to dump it in a bucket of water, and it's kind of like a dirty wet sponge. He's going to run that down the muzzle to make sure, once again, there's nothing hot or a spark or ember down there that could set off our live charge prematurely. And that noise you hear is the vacuum that has been created by Chuck's expert thumb stalling. William's going to run down there one more time just to make sure. And there it is again. Chuck is still an expert thumb staller. Appreciate it, Chuck. But that is all we're going to need you for, so thanks for coming out. How about a round of applause for our friends from California there? Thank you, sir. Now I'm going to continue thumb stalling as William loads our powder charge. Our charge today is a whopping 3 ounces, a far cry from the 20 ounces they would have used in battle, but it will still get the job done for you guys today. It's wrapped in that historically accurate Reynolds tin foil. The soldiers normally would have used a muzzle and cloth, but that would cause a fire danger because the cloth could catch on fire going over the wall, so that tin foil prevents that fire danger. Now William's next tool is a crooked ramrod. That's another historical inaccuracy up here. That crook is a French invention, but it allows him to step off to the side. Whereas the Americans in the 1880s would have used a straight ramrod, like his other two tools, we've been pounding down on live gunpowder, standing right in front of the muzzle of the gun. Not very safe. So that crook allows him to step away, and if anything did go wrong, he wouldn't be exposed directly to that blast. Now that he's stepped to the rear of the gun, he's going to insert the gimlet, or gunner's spike. He's going to use that to prick open our charge that he just loaded to expose it to our ignition device. The ignition device was created in 1830, and it is called a friction primer. It's a brass tube with black gunpowder on the inside of that tube, connected to a pull pin. And at the joint, or the junction where these two meet, is this black chemical that you guys see. Now, the black chemical is an extremely friction-sensitive chemical called fulminate of mercury. Same thing found on strike anywhere matches. So, hopefully we'll be able to pull this pull pin out, and it will create friction that will ignite a spark on the chemical, that will ignite the rest of the gunpowder in this tube, will burn down and set off our salute charge for you guys today. Now, William has inserted it into a caging device. That is for your safety as well as ours. The soldiers would not have worried about where their friction primers landed, but they do have a tendency to fly, and we have found some as far away as the commissary building behind you. So to ensure nobody gets friction primed in the eye today, we've inserted that into the caging device. Now, he does have the lanyard attached, which means our cannon is ready to fire. And we have both inserted earplugs, which should be a good sign to you guys. Now would be the time to locate nature's earplugs. Make sure you put it in there. It will be relatively loud. It's not as loud as the rifles, but it is still quite loud. With that, there are two commands to fire this cannon, and they are ready, fire!
Wow, that was cool.
And there's your cannon salute to welcome you guys here to Fort Mackinac today.